Usually, when you're an all-time great scorer, I've noticed something similar. Most of the all-time great scorers get to the top of the mountain, right? And they coast at the top of that mountain, whether it may fluctuate up or down a little bit, but they coast at the top of that mountain for about 4 to 5 years to where they hover around 29 to 32 points per game, usually for about 4 to 5 seasons. This goes for most all-time greats, right? For instance, LeBron James from 03 to 09 was 29, 7, and 7. That's a 5-year stretch. He averaged 30 or more twice during that same stretch. Karl Malone from 89 to 92. That's a 4-year stretch. He averaged 29 and 11. We're talking about consecutive years, not bouncing around, right? To where they get to the top of that mountaintop and they coast for a certain amount of years before they drop off. Now, the drop off might be from 29 to 25, and they stay consistent, and they fluctuate from 25 to 23 to 26 back to 25. Some guys have consistency along that level, but they never quite reach back up to that plateau that they hit earlier on in their career. And these are majority all-time great scorers, right? Look at Jordan, for example, and he's a rare exception. Jordan from 87 to 93, right? That's 7 consecutive years. He was 33, 6, and 6. And he averaged 30 for 7 straight seasons before he retired in 93. And when he came back, he averaged like 25, 26, right? See, his decline was slight, but then he was steady. He averaged 30 again, I think, once after that. But I'm talking about consecutively. All-time great scorers have gone through this, right? T-Mac from 01 to 04, that's a 4-year stretch. He was giving you 28, 7, and 5. He averaged 30-plus twice during that stretch. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar from 71 to 75. That's a 5-year stretch where he averaged 30 points and 15 rebounds. And he averaged 30 twice during that stretch. Do you see the pattern from these all-time great scorers? I'm going to give you 2 more. Kobe Bryant from 03 to 08. He averaged 29, 6, and 5. That's a 6-year stretch. And he averaged 30 or more twice during that span. 6 years. You see, Kobe's was 6 years. Mike's was 7 years. LeBron's was 5 years. Malone's was 4 years. Most all-time great scorers have a 4 to 5 year stretch where when they hit that mountaintop, they coast up there for about 4 to 5 years, and then they drop off. Now, the drop-off for some may be massive. The drop-off for others could be like LeBron's drop-off, where he went from averaging 29 to 25 and never averaged less than 25 for the rest of his career, right? Which is incredible. Last but not least, you got Harden, one of the greatest scorers of all time. From 2016 to 2020, that's a 5-year stretch. He averaged 31, 8, and 6 and averaged 30 or more 3 times during that 5-year span. I say all of that to say this. That is what you're seeing from Luka Doncic right now. Last year, he averaged 28. This year, right now, he's averaging 34 points per game on pace to do what Harden did back in 2012 and averaged 35, 36 points. He just hit the top of that ascension of his mountain. Now, it's yet to be seen how long he'll coast on the top of that mountain. Now, next year he may average 32, which is a slight dip, but it's still on that elite plateau. The year after that, he might average 30, which is another slight dip, but it's still at that elite plateau. Now, what if after that 3rd season he drops from 32 to 28, right? Which is still on that elite plateau, but it's a significant drop from 3 years ago where he was averaging 34, 35 points per game. And then what if that 28 goes from 28 to 25, and from 25 consistent maybe for another 5 years, and then plateaus like most superstars do, like Kobe did towards the back end. But the difference is that hasn't happened yet for LeBron. That has not happened yet for LeBron. So while we're ranting and raving about how great Luka Doncic has been playing, we have to pump our brakes with the LeBron James comparisons, simply because we don't know or can't promise that same trajectory for Luka that we've seen from LeBron James, because what we see in LeBron do is something that has never been done throughout the history of the game. And nobody, I mean nobody, takes the game more serious than LeBron James. Nobody.